is it's only natural to expand, but first we should have a better sense of our future before we do so.
Yeah, and speaking of your future, it is here at the draft, and with that in mind, I'm thinking about a finals that involved two teams built very much through the draft. The finals before that, the Bucks, the Suns, also built primarily through the draft with their own draft picks. Are we seeing maybe a push back that way where teams are putting more of an emphasis on the draft, on development, on their own players, and maybe is the super teams era that we had there for a while over?
My honest answer is I hope so. Again, one of the reasons I said in the opening remarks tonight that why the draft is so important. Steph Curry 7, Clay 11, Draymond 35. You're right, same with Celtics built, call it the old-fashioned way. I mean, obviously, Andrew Wiggins was a big additional piece coming through a trade. But I think if the fans appreciate teams built that way, and of course, it's interesting, what team could be more super than the Warriors? But they're not a super team the way we all mean it. And I think what teams around the league are learning is that there are no shortcuts. It's still a team sport. You have to build chemistry. You have to build rapport among those guys. And I also think, in a positive way, all the changes in media I was referencing, that if you're a champion in Milwaukee like Giannis, you're as globally famous as it comes. It's not as if, well, if I go an hour and a half down the road to Chicago, then I'll be really well known and get great commercial deals. And I think in a good way, what players in this league are seeing, I'm not saying markets don't matter, but first and foremost, and obviously they care about getting the right contract, but they recognize that it's about becoming part of an organization where they can be successful. And that's all. It's about their legacy, and even economically to them, it's about success on the floor. So the goal, and something we're constantly working towards, and I think we've made incremental progress, is to have a true 30-team league. And so that regardless of where you're playing, you have a chance to compete for championships, and frankly, under an economic model that makes sense for those franchises. So it's not just a function that the only way you can win is to add payroll plus a tax that makes it diseconomic. And so, but I think every year the league has made progress there, and I think the players join us in wanting a very competitive league. I mean, Chris Paul is president of the union, C.J. McCollum, Tamika Tremaglio, now the new executive director. We have very constructive conversations. There's aspects that are, of course, adversarial, but at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, to have as competitive a league as possible.
Well, it's good to see you back. It's good to see you. You got great energy. So with the voices going, the energy is still there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. All the best to you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for being the best commissioner in all professional sports and a player's commissioner. Whether they tell you that or not, we respect it. And as a part of the greatest fraternity on earth, we respect you a tremendous amount.
Thank you, Corey.
And he's trying to get that picture.
I'm getting my picture. We're going to commercial break.
And with the handshake, too.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to recreate 1995 like it was yesterday.
Let's go up on stage.
We can do it.
Do it right now because we are going to break. The commissioner, Adam Silver, joining us here. We are in the second round of the NBA draft. We're at pick 35. The Los Angeles Lakers, who made the move up for that pick, are on the clock. You're listening to the NBA draft on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, presented by Boost Mobile.
Saturday on ESPN Radio.
Gone! A line drive home run to left center for Alvarez.
The top two teams in the American League go head-to-head in the Bronx when Yordan Alvarez and the Houston Astros face Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees.
He made the grab. Another great play from Aaron Judge, doing it all here tonight.
The Yankees and Astros. Coverage begins Saturday at 12:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Presented by Progressive Insurance.
Coming up Friday, we're reacting to the NBA draft, and we'll tell you the one guy the Knicks should target this offseason. Keyshawn J. Willimax, Friday, 6 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
This is Bart and Hahn.
Is he the best tight end in the history of the sport?
That's a tough one because I played with Tony Gonzalez.
Yes, you did.
My locker was right beside him. But Gronk is better than Tony Gonzalez when it comes to blocking, and I have no problem saying
But isn't that a big part of this?
It is.
Because there were a lot of tight ends that were great receivers, but they never were asked to block because it wasn't what they were about. Gronk did it all.
Bart and Hahn. Weekdays at noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN+. Mike Greenberg. Green.
Steph Curry The default seems to be, oh, he's made himself a top 10 player of all time. And my response is, slow down. He received the key with this championship to that tiny little room in the Basketball Hall of Fame that is reserved only for the immortals. But there are more than 10 people in that room. And so the question is, does he actually make the top 10 right now?
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And watch exclusively on ESPN Plus. Did you miss Canty and Carlin?
Kevin Durant's a great player, but he's not a leader. He's not an alpha. He never has been. Nobody has ever spoken of him, as we were just discussing, with the way that the Golden State Warriors speak with the respect of Steph Curry. It's just not him. Chuck wants him to drive the bus. He can't pass the test to get the license.
Canty and Carlin, weekdays on ESPN Radio and on ESPN Plus. This is the 2022 NBA Draft on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Back at the Barclays Center, we're in the second round of the NBA Draft. Alan Hahn, Corey Alexander, PJ Carlissimo. We have Seth Greenberg back in our Bristol studios. We are 5 picks deep in the second round. And PJ, you're excited about some of the names you've seen here. Some value early in the second round.
I'm loving it. Andrew Nembhard goes at 31. Mark Few told me he was the best pick-and-roll passer he ever coached. That's a pretty strong statement. Yes. Andrew Nembhard, by the way, from Canada, back-to-back. Caleb Houston from Michigan, also from Canada. Christian Coloco is a steal at 33. I mean, I'm shocked he fell that far. That's from Cameroon. So 3 international players to start off, and then you got Jalen Williams from Arkansas and Max Christie from Michigan State. We said how deep this draft was. Those are really good picks for early second round.
And not only that, you're talking about when you get into those first 40 picks, you're talking normally guaranteed money. And so the guys who are taken in those first 10 picks or so in the second round are guys that have a great chance of moving on and having success in the league.
And there are good players left. I mean, E.J. Liddell is alive. Kennedy Chandler's alive. I mean, there are good players. Max Christie's going to be a really good player eventually, too.
Max Christie joining us here in a moment. Just want to say this draft tracker was brought to you by Masterworks. Start diversifying for the future today at Masterworks.com. Promo code Greeny. See disclosures at Masterworks.com/CD. So Max Christie, now a Laker. You got the hat on.
Yes, sir.
How are we feeling?
I'm feeling really good, really good. This was a dream come true for me, and I'm really happy to be a part of a great organization.
And Max, you